Hello, hopefully all of you are doing good. So now in last couple of videos we are trying to see how to connect the heavy forwarder with our indexer cluster, correct? Now while doing that we were actually trying to reduce the manual effort and trying to automate stuff over there. And if you remember, you have seen the last video I have posted. So there I discussed about like there are two problems over here. One is at the indexers level, we need to define the receiving port, right? That is that we were doing it manually, as well as at the heavy forwarder level we were trying to create the forwarding, right? So that is also we were trying to do it manually as well. So let us try to see a very simple presentation and we'll try to reason through it, like what we were doing and what we are trying to achieve in this particular video. So we had three indexers there, right? According to our current setup, we have one cluster master and we have one heavy forwarder. Now I just drawn this, only this part. I have not drawn the search heads or deployed over there because I was just trying to making it very simple over here. So what we were doing it before, for each and every indexer we were defining the receiving port there, right? So that basically we were doing it manually, as well as in our heavy forwarder we were doing the forwarding configuration as well. That was also I was doing it manually, correct? Now in the last video we have basically automated this part where we were not doing any definition of the receiving port manually. So what we were doing it over there, so this arrows we will try to take it as manual effort over there. Okay, now in the previous video we have seen like we were not doing this stuff manually. We are basically doing a bundle push from the cluster master to all the indexers over there, so that it will receive those inputs.conf details from our cluster master itself through the bundle push over there, right? So now by using this approach, so what was our benefit? If a new indexer joins the cluster, so that it will get the necessary information from the cluster master itself without any manual intervention over there, correct? So now let us talk about this was our bundle push method over there, right? Now let us talk about how we can reduce this particular manual effort over here. So now these arrows we will try to make it as automatic. We have already automated this one in previous video, correct? So now this portion, how to automate this stuff, so this is called we will be using a very interesting feature in Splunk called the indexer discovery here. Okay, so in the indexer discovery, so this is what happens. So we will try to just remove this heavy forwarder configuration manually. So we will not create any kind of manual forwarding configuration over there. So how it will work? So basically at the indexer layer it has the receiving port, right? So you already saw how to define this Splunk TCP, correct, in the inputs.conf, or if you want to use SSL you can configure Splunk TCP-SSL as well. So now using this Splunk TCP information, because cluster master will have this information like where on which port these indexers are listening, that details cluster master will have that particular details now. Okay, so in the indexer discovery, so once it have that, we can have a polling from the cluster master to the heavy forwarder with some regular interval. So let's say heavy forwarder is polling the cluster master on regular interval and trying to get the list of peers with their port details. Okay, so in this approach what will happen? So if a new indexer or new peer joined, so heavy forwarder will have the information of that peer and its receiving port as well, correct? So in that case it does not need to define explicitly for those peers over there, correct? So this is nothing but the indexer discovery method. So this is, so if we have this if we want to enable this particular indexer discovery method. So there are certain configuration we have to do at the cluster master level, where we need to basically enable the indexer discovery method, also do certain kind of other configuration as well, which we will see very shortly. As well as at the heavy forwarder level, we need to configure the indexer discovery as well, which we'll see it now. So if I just try to log into our cluster master, and from there let us try to just see our indexer clustering status first. So all is fine now. We have our search head as well. The same setup I am using what I have used in the previous video as well. Now to configure the indexer discovery, so as I said, two things we have to do. In the cluster master level, we have to first enable the indexer discovery, and at the heavy forwarder level, we have to configure it as well. So let us try to log into our heavy forwarder as well and try to see what current configuration we have. So in the heavy forwarder, if I just go to settings, forwarding and receiving, so I have deleted those indexers settings over here. So if you remember previously, we were adding our new host over there, right, for all the indexers. For now, we will not do this one. This process will be automatic from now. So for that, first we will do the indexer cluster master level configuration, and then we will be doing the heavy forwarder level configuration there. Okay, so what I will do is I will first log into the backend of the cluster master first. Okay, so we need to go to the cluster master server.conf file to make some changes there. Now in the cluster master, if I just go to cd/opt splunk etc system local folder, so there is a server.conf here, right? So let us open that particular file. So in the server.conf, if you remember, we had our clustering settings over there, right? Indexer cluster settings over there. So in the same file, we need to first enable the indexer clustering there, indexer discovery over there, not indexer clustering, indexer discovery over there. Now there are certain settings over there. Let me paste it over here, then we will try to discuss that so that we will save a lot of time. So I'll go to insert mode, I will paste it over here. So to enable indexer discovery, first thing you have to do is you have to create a stanza called indexer_discovery here. Then you need to provide a pass4 SIM key. Now this will be used to communicate with the forwarders. Now in this video, we are only using a single forwarder, that's called our heavy forwarder. Now the same concept can be applied to a list of forwarders as well. Probably I will create a separate video for that, but the same concept will be applied over there as well. Okay, so to communication between the cluster master and the heavy forwarder or list of forwarders will be happening through that time we will need to use this particular pass4 SIM key over there, right? So I have given a very simple one. You need to give a proper one if you want to use it in production system. Now there is a thing called polling rate, and there is a thing called indexer weight by disk capacity. Now these settings actually governs, this is a very interesting one. So this is actually governs the load balancing from the forwarders to the indexers over there. So and that too, this particular load balancing happens based on the indexer capacity. Okay, the free disk space available in the indexer. So let us try to understand this one now. So in the weighted load balancing, what happens, right? We're currently discussing about this one, right? The cluster master level configuration, where we were trying to create a stanza and we were basically trying to set this particular value. It could be true and false. Either you can enable it or disable it over here. So in this case, what happens? Let's say at our indexer level, this particular indexer has 50 GB space available. This one has 100 GB space available, and this one has 500 GB space available. Now, if we make this particular settings true, that means if we turn on this particular settings, what will happen? Whenever our forwarders will try to distribute the basically, if you remember, for the forwarder settings, it has a particular settings where it will switch to the indexers, different indexers, after some certain time, right, at particular definite interval over there, right? So whenever it switches the indexer, it will basically also taken into consideration that space available for the indexer as well. Now it calculates based on a percentage over there. It basically decides which indexer it will choose based on this percentage as well. So like for indexer 1, so currently I have 50 GB available, right? So basically 50 divided by the overall space available throughout all the indexers over there. So 50 by 650 over there, almost around 8% over there, right? So if we just calculate the percentage value for all the indexers, so if you see, the indexer 3 has more space available compared to the other indexers over there, right? So there is a high chance that indexer 3 will be receiving more data compared to other indexers over here. So this particular settings actually govern this particular feature. Now we have another interesting feature over here as well, called the advertise disk capacity over here. Now this is interesting because sometimes you may want, like, let's say if you have 500 GB available in your indexer, you just want to advertise only 250 GB. So in that case, what will happen is you will give an integer, let's say 50. So it will be a percentage over there. So only the 50% of this indexers will be available for this particular calculation. So that is also, you can set it up, you can configure it over here, but you need to remember, you need to configure under the clustering stanza over there, okay, not in the indexer discovery stanza over there. So this is also a cool feature. So now we understood the basics about the weighted load balancing. So there was another, the polling rate. You have seen that one as well, right? So in the polling rate, you basically give a number between 1 and 10 there, okay, and this basically governs how frequently your forwarders will be polling your cluster master. So very simple one, but there is a simple formula over here as well, like this is how it will be calculated, like the number of forwarders divided by the polling rate you are mentioning in your configuration file plus 30 second into 1000. So that will be your polling interval in milliseconds. So in our case, currently we have a one single heavy forwarder. So 1 divided by 10 plus 30, it will be around 30,000 millisecond or 30 seconds. So each and every 30 second, our heavy forwarder will poll the cluster master to see if any new indexer joined the cluster or not. If it has joined, so it will try to get, it will get basically the port on which it was listening over there for the forwarding data, correct? So now with this idea, let us go back to our cluster master configuration as well and try to do the other configurations. So I will save this particular file now. So this is our cluster master configuration level details. So if I just show you now again, so our indexer discovery, you have given the pass4 SIM key, the polling rate as 10. So you need to give any number between 1 and 10 over here. And I have enabled the weight by capacity as well over here. And if you remember, so there is a advertise space, so that you need to do it over here in the clustering stanza. Okay. So our cluster master level settings are done, as I have changed it from the backend. So I need to restart Splunk as well. So let us do that. Splunk bin Splunk, then restart over here. Splunk restart over here. So that is our master level configuration. Now let us go back to our heavy forwarder and try to do the configuration as well. So for that, let me try to open a search head as well, so that I can show you the TMDB index for last 15 minutes. We do not have any data, so that at least we can test it out if we ingest new data, so how it will be. So let me open a search head as well in parallel. Now in our search head, if I just try to run the TMDB index equals to TMDB index, and I will do it, let's say for last 15 minutes we don't have any event over here. So now let us do the heavy forwarder level configuration as well. So I'll just copy paste it, then we will try to discuss it. Now in the heavy forwarder backend, what you need to do is we need to create basically the outputs.conf file now. So we will try to create the outputs.conf file in our, let's say etc system local folder. So /opt Splunk. So this is our Splunk home, etc system, and we'll go to the local folder here. Okay, so let us see, is there any outputs.conf? No. So we will just create a outputs.conf file now. Outputs.conf file. Now in the outputs.conf file, I will just paste the settings we have. Now we need to create 3 stanzas at the forwarder level. First thing is the indexer discovery, then a class name. So you can give any name over here. So that's why I have given just demo indexer discovery over here. Now you need to give a password SIM key. So this one should be same as whatever you have configured at your cluster master level. Okay, so that's why I have given the same password over here. Second thing is you need to give the cluster master URI over here, which I have given it over here, the master URI and its port number over here. Okay, so that's the indexer discovery stanza. Now whatever indexer discovery stanza you have created over here, this demo ID, you need to configure it at the TCP out. Okay, so if you remember, whenever we were trying to do in the normal way, in the TCP out, we are basically configuring the server details, correct? So here we basically configure the indexer discovery one. So whatever name you have given it over here, you need to give the same name over here as well. Okay, and if you want to use the indexer acknowledgement, you need to make it as true, otherwise you need to make it as false. But it is good to have acknowledgement as true over here as well. Okay, so that at least we will know whatever data we are sending it out, it is acknowledged by the indexers over there. Now finally, in the TCP out, in the default group, we will be giving this particular TCP out class name over here. Okay, whatever, even here also you can give any name over here. So the same name you have to use it over here. So this is the 3 configurations you have to do at the forwarder level. Now if you have many forwarders, you can basically replicate this configuration using a deployment server. Currently I have a single forwarder, which is our heavy forwarder, that's why I'm doing it manually, but these settings can be easily automated using a deployment server, right? So now let us save this particular file. Now let us restart Splunk as well, because we have changed the file from the backend, right? Splunk bin Splunk restart. So we will come back after Splunk restart completed. Now first we will try to log into the heavy forwarder front end, and we will go to the forwarding and receiving to see whether any forwarding has been configured there automatically or not. Then we will try to see our TMDB data, whether it is getting ingested or not automatically. Okay, so our forwarder has been restarted, heavy forwarder has been restarted. So let us go back. I think this is the one, our heavy forwarder. So that's why like marking those tabs using groups, Google Chrome groups, is very helpful. So if I just go to settings, forwarding and receiving, configure forwarding. So previously we have seen like there was no settings over there, right? So after we did that, it automatically pulled this information from the cluster master, correct? So it has enabled them as well. So now this is a good thing, because if a new member joins, it will automatically pull that one as well, and it will create that particular entry over here. So everything is done. Now let us try to see if we can, if our TMDB data is getting ingested. So for that, this is an optional step because we have a checkpoint available. So I will just try to delete that movie IDs from there. etc apps. So we need to go to TMDB app. We need to go to bin folder. So there is a folder called checkpoint. So there is a file called checkpoint.txt. I'll just remove the details from there so that we can test it out. Now I will just save it. Now let us go back to our heavy forwarder UI, and from there I'll go to data inputs. Let's see in our scripted input our TMDB upcoming is enabled or not. Yes, it is enabled. Let us try to go to search it and see in last 15 minutes we have anything or not. So once the script run, so it ingested 793 movies in our TMDB index in last 15 minutes over here, right? So this is how the indexer discovery method works over here. And if you see, we actually solved the second part of the problem we discussed in the previous video, correct? Where we were creating these particular settings. So this is our heavy forwarder. So if I just go to settings and forwarding and receiving and configure forwarding, we were doing these things manually, right? So now we have automated this stuff as well. So now probably you can try to add a new member in your indexer cluster and see this member is getting automatically added over here or not. Probably I'll leave it to you guys to try and experiment with this particular stuff over there. Let me know how it goes over there. It should work automatically over there as well. Okay, so and if you see the data, now if I just go to Splunk server, currently the indexer 3 received the data over here, right? So if it is keep on ingesting, so all the indexers will also get the data over there as well when this forwarding will be switching the indexers over there. Okay, and it will be happening based on the disk space available in the indexer level, because we have turned on that particular settings where it will basically see the space available in the indexer, then it will switch to that particular indexer over there. Okay, so hopefully this video was helpful. See you in the next video.